Hi guys, I'm Bodyweight Bro. I've been a fitness coach for a very long time now, and now I started a project to run my first marathon. So if you are the kind of guy that is kind of fit but want to take the running to the next level and maybe even run a marathon, this one is for you. Here are 5 tips how you can get started to run your first marathon. Tip number 1. Choose a training plan that is suitable to you. I myself went on runnersworld.com and chose a sub 4-hour marathon plan. They have many plans for your goals. So if you want to run your marathon in under 5 hours, you can choose one. Under 4 hours, they even got sub 3 hours. Depending on the level you're at right now, if you're kind of running once or twice a week, you should choose a plan that is realistic to you, and especially choose a time frame that is realistic to you. I'll link my plan down below in the description so you can check it out. Now, what is also important here is to adjust the plan to your needs. What I'm trying to say is that, let's say the plan gives you an interval run on a Thursday and a low level run on Friday for like half an hour, but you feel so crushed from your interval runs that you can't do running at all on a Friday. Don't do it. Listen to your body. Don't follow the plan blindly. Take it as a general guideline, but adjust it to your needs and only train when you can. On the other hand, if it gives you just a cross-training day, but you feel like you can run a little, then by all means do that. Listen to your body, listen to your knees and your joints. If they tell you otherwise, then ignore the plan and prefer to listen to the signals that your body gives you. This way you're going to be running sustainably healthy. Tip number 2 is what I call the 10% rule. Now, during the research that I did in the last time, I found out that the mileage that you do every week should not be increased by more than 10%. So for example, let's say your steady state is that you run twice a week 5 kilometers. So you should not up your mileage or your kilometers in the next week more than 10%. Now here's the only catch where you have to adjust this. If you start with 10 kilometers, I don't see a very big benefit in just adding 1 kilometer next week. So listen to your body this way. I adjusted the rule to my needs and I said, okay, 10% is fine, but if you're starting very low, at least add 2 kilometers per week. 2 kilometers is not a lot. This is depending on your tempo, like 10 minutes maybe per week that you run more. So adjust your mileage to that. And later on, the more you run, the more valid this rule becomes. Tip number 3. This is the 80% rule. And what I learned and what I experienced myself is that you should be doing almost 80%, 70 to 80% of your running in low heart rate zones and in low strenuous zones, which means do not do more than 1 or 2 hard runs per week. Hard runs are mountain climbing runs or even interval runs where you go near your threshold and where you go over 80 to even 90% of your maximum heart rate. Now I know it's hard because it takes patience, and sometimes when you want to go hard and you have to go low, it's a little bit frustrating. And for example, if you're running twice a week, it was totally okay to every time climb that hill at full power and full speed. But you can't do that if you're running 6 times a week now, or even 5 times a week. You can't go hard every time or you're going to burn out or injure yourself. So follow this rule. 80% approximately should be done low intensity, low heart rate zones, long runs. If you prepare for a marathon, if you prepare for 10K, this might differ, but for a marathon, you're training, well, for a marathon. So you have to get the mileage in and you have to get it in at a low heart rate. Now, this is an important one, and this is one that I tend to neglect sometimes. It is very, very crucial to recover, and by recovering, I mean stretching. You should absolutely stretch, because let's say in the past you've been training twice a week, running. Maybe you went to the gym 3 times and went running 2 times. Now you're going to run 5 times a week or even 6 times. You have to stretch. It is no longer acceptable to just do your sport and say, no, you know what, I don't want to do it. You have to stretch. Now, I'm going to link the videos below from Yoga with Adrian. She has an awesome 7.5-minute routine that you can do right after your run. It goes very fast and it helps you prevent injury, because if you run 6 times a week or maybe even 7 times and have just one day off, you tend to have a lot of pressure on your ligaments, on your muscles as well, and then all the parts of your legs that are involved in running. So you need to stretch. And another cool thing that I love to do is the Wim Hof thing. So right after my long runs, which are usually on a Sunday, I know, classic, I'm gonna do an ice bath. So I'm gonna put cold water in the bathtub, put some ice in it to lower even more the temperature, and then I sit in it just up until my belly, so I have my legs in the ice water for around 10 minutes before I take my shower. Helps wonders and is awesome for recovery and feels so good after a long hard run. So tip number 4 is recovery, which involves stretching. You should stretch daily, and I highly suggest you try ice baths. Okay folks, and this is tip number 5. You should absolutely train your core. Now, if you're coming from fitness, like if you are used to doing push-ups and pull-ups and sit-ups and whatnot, you're gonna like this one, because finally you can do some strength training. Now, why is strength training so important? Well, you don't just run with your legs, you run with your whole body, you move your arms, your core has to stabilize in order for you to keep running straight up and in correct form. If your upper body is weak, your legs are gonna suffer too, because you're just gonna wiggle around with your upper body, and this is gonna impact your running efficiency very badly. So do yourself the favor and do core exercises, or maybe even some pull-ups and push-ups at least twice a week. You should absolutely do straight non-rotational core exercises. You should do side planks and maybe even the Russian twist, you know, where you have a weight, you sit on the ground, you have a weight and you rotate, because rotation is basically what you do most of the time while running. And you want to avoid too much rotation in order to be running efficiently. So do rotational core exercises, do straight core exercises, do all the core exercises that you can possibly think of. It's a good idea to do them on your rest days, for example, because there's going to be rest days twice a week, maybe once a week you're not going to train at all. And the other day, at least in my plan, you're going to be just cycling, but you can't run. And even that you do in a low heart rate. And if you have the time and you want to run, but you can't, because you must not, because you must recover, then strength training is the perfect methadone for you, because now you can do something. I'm the kind of guy who, when I can't train, but I have the time and I have the motivation, but I must not train, is very frustrating to me. And core exercise is something that you can always do. So aim for 2 days of core exercises each week. Okay guys, these were my 5 tips for you if you want to get started with running, if you want to get serious with running, and if you maybe want to do your first half marathon or marathon. I hope you took some value out of this. If so, please click that like button, subscribe to my channel, and you can even post a comment if you have something to say. If you have another tip for me that I did not cover in this video, please feel free to share it with us. And that's it from my side. Keep running, guys. Be healthy, be good, enjoy life. See ya.